Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again.
It's time for the J. Craig 5, maybe 10-minute movie review.
Us is written and directed by Jordan Peele, the man who brought us Get Out, as well as the co-conspirator of Key and Peele, one of my all-time favorite skit shows. This is his second movie, or his sophomoric theatrical picture. I thought Get Out was a good movie. Not great. I didn't love it, but I thought it was okay. And I also don't find it to be a horror movie, more of a psychological thriller. Okay, but I think most of what Jordan Peele does is in the psychological thriller, or at least the gray area. I know he falls in the horror genre, but I think his movies are more in that blend of psychological thriller and horror. Take up Jacob's Ladder, horror movie, psychological thriller. You could call it both and you'd be right. So it's in that gray area. However, I think Us shades slightly more so into the horror category with this particular movie. But ultimately, I loved Us. I think this is a great follow-up to Get Out, and I think it's a better picture overall. Now, it stars Lupita Nyong'o and Winston, who were both together in Black Panther. Also stars Elisabeth Moss from Mad Men, as well as, well, that's about it as far as I know. Now, this movie's a little hard to discuss as far as what it's about. And I don't want to give anything away. I want to make this spoiler-free as possible, so I'm going to leave this very vague, but it's hard to discuss without giving away too much. So this movie essentially is about doppelgangers, and they're trying to kill the people who they look like. Okay? That's the easy way to talk about it. Now, if you want to dive a little bit deeper without getting into the mess, into the weeds a bit, this is about your shadow. You are in control of your shadow. Your shadow does your bidding. Your shadow is a slave to you. What would happen if the shadows collectively rose up and took over? That's essentially what this movie's about. Now, I'll leave it at that and let you watch the movie, but just know this movie has a lot of layers. This movie is not just a simple story. That's what I love about a good filmmaker. Jordan Peele is a talented filmmaker. This is a definite proof now is that he takes a movie that has all these different layers and makes it work. So, like a Twilight Zone episode, right? I think that's why Jordan Peele is now the host of the Twilight Zone episodes. The Twilight Zone series is his movies fall in that category, and he loves that twist of reality, and I think it's awesome. So, now what the movie's about is Lupita is a mother of she has a family, but when she was a child on a beach in California, she was in a carnival area, and she got lost in a fun house, and 15 minutes later, she came out. She had a traumatic experience in this particular situation, and it changed her. Fast forward 30 years or so, and now Lupita and her family she's all grown up, obviously, and now they're going back to that same beach. Now, they've been going to this beach for vacation for years, it seems. This is not like a new thing for them. They've been there before, but for some particular reason, this trip is causing her some grief. She's distraught, she's unfocused, she's nervous, she's on edge, and she's on guard, and we don't know why. Now, when they get home that night from the beach, at the beach house, they find 4 people standing in their driveway, dressed in red jumpsuits, and standing there holding hands. And that's where stuff starts to come open. That's where the doors start opening, and all of a sudden, the movie starts taking life. Now, that's where it starts getting creepy. I find his movies more in the, I guess that's why I say psychological thriller, because his movies are more creepy and eerie, as opposed to scary. But again, this movie does have some more scare moments than I would say Get Out does, for sure. But that's essentially what the movie's about. Now you have these doppelgangers trying to kill the family, and they have to find a way to get out and survive. But again, the doors open up, and this movie goes in directions that you might not expect it to. So buckle in. It's a cool little movie. Performances across the board are awesome. Lupita gives an amazing performance. She is so awesome in this movie. And Winston, I believe, is playing Jordan Peele. I don't think Jordan Peele wanted to be in this movie, and I think Winston knew that and decided to play Jordan Peele. If you've ever seen Key and Peele and you see Jordan play like a white guy, that's what Winston sounds like from time to time. There's moments where he's off screen and you hear his voice and it sounds like Jordan Peele. It's like, man, it's awesome. Some cool stuff. Elisabeth Moss is really good when she's in it. But like I say, this movie has a lot going for it. It's fun. It's funny without being a comedy. You know, all good movies, good talented filmmakers know how to throw in humor. Pulp Fiction is not a comedy, but it's funny as hell. Reservoir Dogs is not a comedy, but it's funny as hell. Funny in parts anyways, right? Same thing here. Jordan knows how to elicit the humor from these scenes. He knows how to craft these scenes. He knows these scenes so well that he's able to turn a typical moment on its head a bit. That's what makes him so talented. People keep saying that he's revolutionizing or he's reinventing the genre. I don't think that's true. I just think he's being very crafty with his blend between psychological thriller and horror, and he's creating just really great concepts. So I don't think he's reinventing it. I just think he's doing it very well, and he's taken to that Twilight Zone horror category, if you will. So go see this movie. You're going to really enjoy it. At least I did, and I hope you did, because the more time passes, the more I love this movie. The more I want to talk about this movie. The more I want to find out what the rabbits were all about. The more I want to find out, what the shadows. And there's so much I want to talk about that I can't give away here. So go see this movie and let's talk about it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already done so, click that little button right there, that J. Craig logo. That's our subscription button. Hit that, follow, like us, and get our podcast, the movie reviews, of course, and all the tutorials that we're going to be doing. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Now go see the movie.